Hey everybody, and welcome back to another X-Plane 11 stream. We're on the ground here at Ronaldsway Airport over in the Isle of Man. The scenery is from Boundless, and Boundless, as I've been reading during the week, are working with Kino over on the xplane.org, and they're working on a new Kerry airport, which is going to be awesome. But we're not looking at Kerry today. We're going to be having a look at Ronaldsway. And we're going to take a flight over to the right in the middle of Ireland. There's a small airfield there called Birr in County Offaly. So we're going to give it a look. So we're back in our trusty L steed, the Alabeo Mooney M20. As you try and zoom out here. And we'll have a look at this airport for you. So this airport, it's the main one on the Isle of Man. There were two more up here. I don't believe either in use. But having a look at it, there's quite a lot of detail in this one. And I believe they're actually working on the entire island as well, so there's a little bit of a mixed match whereby they have worked on their own ortho tiles around the airport. It's colour corrected and very natural looking, and the ones I have are, yeah, that's how good mine are. They're not great, but we won't worry about that. Just, it's fine. So it's a sizable old airport. Didn't mean to do it that fast, but as we have a look here, as you can see, lots of detail gone in. They have a number of static aircraft parked up here on the ramp. Little trucks and Cessnas and Pipers and various aerials. We have the fire crew down here, along with their training aircraft. More private aircraft. Let our music slowly fade into the background. So yeah, it is a nice airport. And it's a nice stop-off point, in particular for the GA flyers in us, because we like flying kind of island to island. So you can see the level of detail they've gone into with their ortho versus mine, for example. So I'm really looking forward to them having the rest of the island done. It's going to be awesome. Usually I fly with Orbex here, but I have it turned off because I'm trying to run the X-Plane 11 beta. So I want to rule out kind of third-party add-ons from breaking things. So we'll jump into our little plane here. We're going to get it set up, go for takeoff. We'll be flying in, we'll come in over Dublin and pretty much aim for the very centre of Ireland. Well, technically Athlone is the centre of the island, but Birr would be the centre of the Republic. So that's where we're going to head for. So to get started, we're going to go ahead and turn on our battery. Alternator can go on as well. Everything's coming alive. Our fuel selector, we go on the left tank. No, we go on the right tank. And how we know that is, if we look up here on our fuel panel, we have our left tank and our right tank. So you'd always pick the tank with the most amount of fuel in it. On to our overhead here now, we can go ahead and put some lights on. We already have our nav and beacons on. We can put on our recognition lights as well. Vents here are open. We have a little trusty menu over here. We'll go ahead and turn off our static elements and close our doors. Open our little window here now, and we're going to get the aircraft started. So fuel tank is on. We're going to put our prop mixture to full. Open our throttle about 1/4 of an inch. Get our booster pumps on. Turning our mags. Clear prop. And there is a start on the engine. Keeping the RPMs in and around 1,000. As we watch our EGT here, as it's jumping up and around. Avionics coming on here now. So here we are out in the Isle of Man, and we're pretty much going to head this direction. Right about here, which is Birr. So that is the plan of attack. So what we can do, we can put in our waypoint here. Echo India Bravo Romeo is Birr. Bearing 246, that's 132 nautical miles. And that's all gravy. Once we get airborne, we'll get a ETA to our destination. If we come down to our transponder here as well, we'll be setting this to VFR. So we're going to go 7,000. Altitude reporting, that's all fine. Our altitude, we're going to set it to 8,000 feet. Go ahead and arm that. And our vertical speed we can leave off as well. So quick check, make sure that our heading and compass are working, which they are. We have a master warning light, that's fine. Go ahead and cancel that. So far, so good. If you're in the chat, don't be afraid to say hello. Bear with me now. Okay, everything looks good here. We're pretty much ready to go. Jump outside. Make sure all our lights are on and off. Frames here are quite good. Now I do have the reflections turned on, so nothing major to worry about. Alright, so landing lights and taxi lights and come on. Put our strobes on here as well. Do a control test on our ailerons. All is good. Elevator and rudder working fine. If we have a look here, our spoilers, our speed brakes are working as well. Cool. Okay, we're ready to boogie on out of here. So parking brake coming off. As we taxi up and along here. Great details here in this airport. I have to say it's really well put together. As we're kind of joyriding around the taxiway here. A nice little plane, this. It's kind of my go-to plane. It's of all the different the Cessna's been getting good early use, alright, but you always just have to have kind of one plane that's your go-to. Crossing the airport here. The runway even. So I'm working off new audio tonight. I have this gadget called a Yamaha MG10XU. Basically it's just a big soundboard or a mixing board. And with that we have this new microphone here. Now I've ordered a new mic because this thing is dated. So hopefully in the next couple of days we'll have beefy audio. But do let me know in the chat how it's working out. Otherwise we'll have to resort to sign language, I suppose. And I'm not any good at that. So with these panels as well, I don't know how familiar you are with Alabeo Mooney. But you can click on all the panels here just to enlarge them and get a good closer look at them, which is very handy. Same with your fuel as well. Pretty awesome. Okay. So we got ourselves lined up here on the runway. Frames are behaving themselves. Famous last words. Okay, we'll have a quick check over our systems just before we up and at them. Parking brake set to on. Quick look down here. So avionics, everything's turned on. Booster pumps are all okay. Fuel flow is running okay. Mixture, we'll full rich that now in a second. We're on our right tank. Transponder is on. EGT seems fine. We've set up our direct to mode. Activate from here. Heading bug to the runway heading. 8,000 feet is selected. And we're good to go. Okay guys, let's boogie on out. So mixture to rich, parking brake coming off. We don't need flaps on this takeoff. Throttle's going forward. Power set. There's the window closing. We always forget something. Airspeed is alive, 60 knots. We're going to look here for close to 80. Plane is going to start getting very light. And up we go. Nice sporty taxi. Tapping the brakes. Bring in the landing gear. A little bit bumpy. As we say goodbye to the airport. A little bit windy, but nothing major to worry about. And with that, there's some weird reflections over the wing there. Weird. Just passing 1,000 feet. Speed is picking up well. Let's get ourselves trimmed out here. That's 1,500 feet. Okay, jump down, go ahead, get our autopilot set up. Go to nav mode. And we can go ahead now and set our climb rate to about 700 feet. Go ahead and engage that. And that should be us all rosy. Cool. Quick checking everything here. So temps and pressures seem okay. Oil temperature's fine. Go ahead and get our taxi and landing lights off. Now we have a little button down here That makes everything kind of calm and quiet for our headphones. All our lights are on, which is good. So as we start climbing and our speed will increase over the ground, we can see that our ETA is going to be shortening all the while. So 126 nautical miles out, about 50 minutes. It's realistically about 45. So far so good. A little bit of a mixed match with the auto. Oh look, it's gone. That's a better view, isn't it? It is a great plane, this. Now how good it is in terms of, you know, the physics and whatever else, that remains to be seen. But the eye candy is good, the performance is good, it sounds good. Black Knight, great to see you, buddy. Hope you brought your immersion suit. Be chilly. Yeah. It should be immersion rather than immersion suit. How's the audio doing? We're set up on this new fandangle bujangle here, so hopefully it's a little bit better. Go for the whole radio voice kind of thing. Mother always said I had a face for radio. My wife says that as well, actually. Nice reflections here as well. We're actually getting good out performance considering. We've reflections on full tilt. We're looking well. I thought I saw a bit of turbulence, alright. Keep it together. So just passing over 5,000 feet. 151 over the ground. A little bit bumpy up here. Just as we find our stride here. Everything doing what it's supposed to be doing. So how was your week, guys? I hope you were keeping well. Happy Friday. For some it was a short week, for others probably a long week, so a little tinny. Any feedback is going to be good on this. Now imagine if I'm a little bit closer, it sounds better, right? I'm not on VATSIM tonight. I do have VATSIM, but it's kind of on hold until I get me audio right. Well, I could use the headphones, but yeah. What about you? Do you go on VATSIM? We're going to be getting close to changing over our tank from the right tank over to the left. So we'll wait for that to go down to about 30. We can lean our mixture out here a little bit as well. Watch our EGT though, it doesn't spike. So we're coming up on 7,000 feet. Miguel, you flew to Birr this day last week in real life. Fantastic, dude. Where did you fly in from? Birr is a nice little airfield. .500 feet to go. That's awesome, dude. So you went from Abbeyshrule down to Birr and then back to Tullamore. That was nice. Where are you flying, man? Abbeyshrule, I think, is it's tarmac, I think, isn't it? Or concrete? Yeah, all them short hops, they're great fun. Okay, sitting at 8,000 feet. Gonna let our speed build up here. We can lean our mixture a little bit more. RPMs, we can bring it back to 2,400 ish. We're going to change over our tanks very shortly as well. So as you can see, we have our fuel flow here on the left. Then we have our left tank, right tank, our outside air temperature, vacuum, and our ampage. On this panel here, we have our RPM, we have our manifold pressure, our cylinder head temperature, exhaust gas temperature, we have our oil pressure measured in PSI, and we have our oil temperature measured in Fahrenheit. So you often hear pilots say temps and pressures in the green. We're pretty much temps and pressures in the green, so that's what they'd be checking. And they'll be looking at vacuum as well, but they have that here on a digital readout. over on the center column then, so we can go ahead and test all our lights here. Annunciator lights. So you have high or low vacuum, gear down, gear unsafe, alternator voltage, left and right fuel warnings, starting power. Now we have de-icer on this aircraft as well. Working our way down the panel then, we have, usually you'd have some sort of navigation in here. So on this particular model we have the GTN 750. That's from Reality XP. That's a separate add-on, but it's really handy. Good evening, Stephen. How are you keeping? Abbeyshrule is that busy they could have like 3 planes on the runway at any given time. That's mad. Like for such a small, relatively quiet airport, and it's private as well, I think. Stephen says, just got a new rig for Microsoft 2020. Can't wait. I'm with you there, pal. I got the same myself. I've upgraded my own machine. Not that my last machine wasn't bad, but yeah, I think we're all on the hype train for 2020. I've been lucky enough to be an alpha tester on it, so I've been using it for quite some time now. I am looking forward to the beta, just to see what else they've been doing really with the sim. So super hyped to get that sim released, and let's see what it's capable of. So as we're looking up and down our panels, as I said, we have our navigation here, which is our GTN 750. This unit, it's compatible with a fair chunk of aircraft, and the wizards and geniuses that we have in our community, even on the xplane.org, there's so many resources there that actually you can put this GTN into pretty much any aircraft you want, which is great. So if you're unfamiliar with it, you have a live map, and from here it's your standard navigation. You have CDI, you have OBS. You go to your menu here, you can turn on your, is it topography? Or it can be a terrain map. So you can have terrain warnings. Our altitude, there's no terrain warnings, so don't need to worry about it. You can have a chart overlay. Traffic works if you use, I think it's FS Traffic Global, or just Traffic Global. You know the one from Justflight, right? That's on it. Your map setup, so this is pretty much how you want to kind of organize it. As we waffle, we better change our fuel tank here. You have a north up or you have track up. I prefer north up, so that's what I do. All the different notifications and points of interest you can have on the screen, they're all there, and then you can identify all the airspace rules. At what ranges do you want to see them? All the kind of cool stuff. You can change the user fields, so basically anywhere in this section here you can change what these say. So for example, we have ETA to our destination, we have our ground speed, distance to destination, and track. If you click on these, you can just change them up completely. You can go to CDI, you can go to timer. It has a playback mode, so you can actually see previous flights, or you can save a flight, it'll replay all that for you. And charts, everything is there, so you can have a link to a page just by clicking the button up here. What else? Restore defaults. Oh yeah, the map details. So I have it on a little bit. We can see some airways, some waypoints, but if we want to change this to the least amount, it's pretty much just your map. Usually this would give you an idea of your current speed and range, and also the fuel on board, where you're capable of flying to, usually. If we go back in and we go for most detail, I remember doing this back in the FSX days, and like if you cranked your GTN on full detail, it's boil the kettle time. So you can see there's quite a lot of information. The Ballymun Towers, Houston Station. So like there's a lot of information there. So I tend not to fly with that much information on. Less is more. Remember when people say that to you? Will I go premium deluxe? Yes, I have to. Only because it's the sheer amount of aircraft, and you know, people are saying that the aircraft in it, they look amazing. Like, you talk about eye candy, some of them look phenomenal and they sound great. And you know, there has been a little bit of chatter, people saying, oh, the systems aren't great and you know they're garbage and whatever else. But like, it's an alpha. What do you expect? You're not going to have high-end systems put into these. Like, each system on every aircraft has to be modeled and figured out. And again, like, you know, this is just like the baseline when it comes to the sim. If you look at X-Plane 11 when it first came out, if you buy X-Plane 11 now out of the box, it doesn't look particularly nice. It's good, as in it runs well. The default aircraft now they're okay. Now you compare that to FSX, it blows it out of the water. But I think what's the right way to say it? We just call it Flight Sim 2020. MSSFS, yeah. Flight Sim 2020. I think out of the box, it's leaps and bounds in places ahead of where X-Plane is at now. And I think P3D is going to be the ultimate loser in terms of sales and whatever else. But we'll see. Like, it hasn't released yet, you know. But I think Premium Deluxe, mainly because it's the sheer amount of aircraft. There's more custom-made airports. So if you're looking at any of the hype, so Gripper Sim, he's put out a great video on it. Crosscheck is there, and all the usual places. You will have kind of high-level airports, as in great designs, custom-made buildings, all this kind of stuff, and then you have everything else. And the everything else, they're still fairly okay looking. Like, you know, it's based on what Bing is feeding it, but that gives the developers then a chance to release all their own airports, and it'll be interesting to see what the devs can do with their own products at the moment, be it on FSX platform, which is ESP, or over on X-Plane. It'll just be very interesting to see what can be done. So, you know, the price point, the basic version is in and around the same as X-Plane is now. It's about 50 or 60 bucks. The higher you go up in this wonderful world of simulation, we're quite accustomed to buying, you know, an airport for $20 or a GA plane for $25 to $35, and you know, a 320 or an A321 or a A350 or a 757 or a 767. Like, we're used to be paying somewhere between 50 and 100 bucks for them. So I think it's going to be like €110 or $120 for the premium deluxe pack of Flight Sim 2020. So you got to weigh it up, you know. Plus, it's, if you want to compare that to you know, X-Plane, you're technically buying a sim that has ortho for most of the planet out of the box. You don't need add-ons or plugins or any of this stuff to download all your tiles. You have what they have. Now, you could argue, what level of detail? Is there going to be color correction? We don't know. But one thing is for certain, at the moment, as far as I understand, okay, it's going to use up your internet, but you're not going to, like, I have 6 hard drives, external hard drives, and they're all beefy, like they're all 1 or 2 terabytes each, and they run all scenery and ortho and whatever else. Like, that's a lot, you know. So we'll see. I don't know what's going to be cheaper or more expensive, your internet bills from downloading all this stuff or buying hard drives. It'll be interesting. So getting back to Abbeyshrule, yeah, Weston is just a bigger, much bigger airport, and the facilities, like, I've been in and out of Weston a couple of times. Abbeyshrule, it is a place I want to go because I hear so many wonderful things about it. So yeah, Weston's going to be big. Going to suggest that if you're off FATSIM, could you take it up with test physics in the usual manner by spinning it? I'm installing X-Plane 11 on my new PC as we speak. Feel a bit like I'm betraying X-Plane, but the lure of Microsoft is too much. Once third parties get their hands on it, look out. I agree. Black Knight, do you want to see the kind of stall behavior and spin behavior in this? Just so I'm sure, because when you're saying spin, like, we can spin it. It's a GA plane, you know. We're not going to upset any flight plans or any ATC. So by all means, we can go through that. And the height in which we're at, it should be fairly safe. Thanks a million, Stephen. Yeah, putting a webcam up was... look at... I've yet to see if it's a good idea or a bad idea, but I just think for a flight sim, unless you're making like these, you know, theatrical movies and stuff, it's kind of a nice backdrop to have a chat and a yap, and that's the idea behind it. And it's kind of hard. Like, hang on, I can do something because I've stuff here. Don't break. I'm going such a long way to prove a point, but it's harder to do this and still yap and talk and think everything's okay, and then you're back here. Yeah. The production value of this stream alone has just gone tenfold. It's amazing. So yeah, so that was my little rant over X-Plane and 2020. But I am super looking forward to 2020, the full release. Okay, Black Knight, let's go for this. So, we will go for a stall first. Everybody, strap on your seatbelts. This could get bumpy. Actually, where is we? North of Dublin. So if we look out the left window, there's Dublin Airport. That's probably St. No, it's not. That's the food park, isn't it? Roseleen Food Park. There's Dublin Airport. That's out by Horizon Business Park. North Dublin City, Rings End, and then a bit of cloud cover. Speaking of Weston, for those of you unfamiliar with the airspace, Weston Airport is out this neck of the woods. And beyond that again, we have Casement Aerodrome Baldonnel, which is the home of the Irish Air Corps. Anyway. Okay, so first stall, autopilot off. Sorry if that's really loud. Gonna bring our throttle back. Press that alert warning. So let's turn off the sounds. We want total immersion here. We'll go back to that song though, it's decent. Okay, so hold the nose up. It is getting heavy. We're dropping now to about 110 knots. Let's see how well this behaves. So we're starting to drop in altitude. Keep the nose up. We can hear the wind increasing on the surfaces. 80 knots. A good chunk of the stick being pulled back now. Almost at full back. There's the stall starting to hit. We have a shake. Holding at 60 knots. Be quiet, you. Let's try it again. Quiet. Okay. Let's see, can we get it into a proper stall here? Brakes and all. There's the shake. Holding it. Yeah, the wing dips. And we can recover. As the residents of this virtual Dublin look up, going, What was that? 'Twas us in our little plane. Spin. I don't know how well the Moon is going to react in a spin, because I'm almost certain it says don't spin it. The market reflected certified late night running when it's icing conditions. Maneuvering speed must be confined. Right. So we can do a slip spin here. She can spin alright. The comparison to these, I think, and what 2020 might have is going to be interesting. Anyway, back on course. Those who had to drop the lunch, we salute you. Man, that's nice orthos there, isn't it? Yeah. Feelings. Yeah. We all know about killings. Now, all that messing has cost us, 3,000 feet of wonderful altitude. But we shan't worry too much. We'll get ourselves back on course. Get a bit of a climb here. Go back down to auto. You'll get us back here now momentarily. Let's go ahead and reset to 7,000. Should be looking good. Hatches and harnesses. That's one thing I love about the Marchetti. It actually has the ratchet to tighten you into the seat. They've modelled it. Super awesome. There are worse places we could be flying over. Yeah, so like ortho for Ireland. I would recommend anyone looking at ortho, go to the Vertical Sim website, and it's called V Countries. You can pay, I think it's €1 a month if you sign up at Google, and I think you have a basic 15 gig cloud storage, and if you pay them €1 a month, it's like 100 gigs. That's what I've done, and you can cancel it after, like just get your download and then you can cancel it. So it'll cost you €1. I highly recommend that. Failing that, if someone else has downloaded it, or if you're in a locale, so if you're situated in Ireland, if you're, you know, through, be it this chat, or I don't know, if you guys want to set up a Discord or whatever, especially for guys in Ireland, in flight sim, well, we can stick it on a hard drive or stick it on a USB pen, help each other out, you know, if that's easier for you guys. So about 20 minutes to our destination of Birr, coldest place in Ireland. Birr, you get it, right? Yeah, you get it. Yeah, Miguel, like another idea if you want to try, Miguel, would be if you download Auto for XP, if you just rather than downloading all of Ireland, if you want to pick an area that you're interested to fly in, like all around Dublin, like it's decent, and even just, you know, download 2 or 3 tiles. You have zoom levels on it, so the higher the zoom, as in the higher number, means the more data it's looking at. Typically, I think a zoom level of 16 is anywhere between 3 and 5 gigs per tile. 17 or zoom level 17, I think you're up to 8 to 10 gigs. I could be slightly off on that, but it's roughly like that. Zoom level 15 obviously is going to be like maybe a gig, and so on and so forth. This scenery I'm flying over, sorry for the jumpiness, this is zoom level 16, and it's amazing. It's really amazing. At this altitude it's amazing. The lower you get, as we'll see it probably as we come into Birr, it kind of breaks down and not ideal. But from this height, you can't fault it. This looks as good as Orbex, in my opinion, and I will challenge any man who thinks differently. But I think it does look very, very good. The main thing you're missing with Orbex, I'm not quite sure they do much with the mesh, as in they apply their own custom mesh, but they would certainly put in a lot of their own modelling. Buildings, points of interest, trees, they do all that kind of stuff. So but it's quite a convincing scene. Anyone know that golf course? I'll move this over here so you can see roughly where we are. A golf course that's roughly there. We're not too far from Abbeyshrule territory either. Yeah, no, it does. It looks very realistic. And I can tell you, it's pretty close. It's pretty close. And comparable to that other thing we can't talk about. Very close. And with that, the demons hit us. We have all sorts of loading screens and a crash. I don't know. What do you guys think? That's the joys of X-Plane. Clearly, Microsoft or Laminar, someone was listening in on our conversation, and they launched the demons to crash. We'll get our sim loaded back up though. That's kind of the joys of running a beta. What is annoying though, it just crashes. Like, it doesn't tell you why. That's kind of annoying. I know before, like if X-Plane had an issue, back in X-Plane 10, if it had an issue, it told you pretty much exactly what it didn't like. And all you had to do was go around and yank it back out of there and you're good to go. Good evening, Hampus. Good to see you. How are you? We have a bit of an issue with our X-plane. Which is strange. So we went to load into it and it crashed. And it just crashed again. So let's see what happens. Bit of background music. Just to break it all up. Yeah, this is the beta 13, so yeah, maybe it should be on the beta 14. We shall see. Hopefully it doesn't crash again, because we really got to figure out what's wrong with it. New flight. What we got for, guys? What do we fancy? Yeah, it's on Windows. We could go chopper flying. We could go fighter flying. I'm not very proficient in that. The the Lodestar is pretty good, actually. I must actually pick up the Junkers 52. Yeah, the Dutchess, that's a good little plane, that. Do I have that installed? I do. Haven't flown that for a while. The Dutchess is pretty cool. We could try that, couldn't we? And let's go straight to Birr with it. Give it a bash. Change our time because we probably would have got there around 5:10. Right. This might get all jumpy and jittery and everything else just as my sim is loading, so bear with me. There's every chance in the world this is going to look for activations. I hate when that happens. Every time you get a hardware update or an IP changes, you have to reactivate the aircraft, which is a real pain. And the other sim just got the issue. Whatever else. Just bear with us, guys. We're still here. Got sunburn everywhere, but other than that, I'm fine. Hampus, man, if you were to see our weather here and sunburn, we dream of sunburn. We just don't get the weather here. But I hope you're doing okay, man. There is nothing worse than sunburn. And depends where you get it as well. So out comes our trusty little notebook. Okay. There was a minor problem with the VR config. Right. Okay, we're going to hide this for a second. If I go into OBS, that'll show me. Hey, how's it going? You can't see what's happening behind the screen. So bear with me here, chaps. We just need to activate this little aircraft here, which we have. So you are the Justflight Dutchess 76. Paste. Activate. Reload. Hopefully this works. Yeah, sunburn beats frostbite any day. So we wait and see. The we sounds anyway. Now let me see. Turn off X camera, because I don't believe I have this aircraft set up on X camera. Bear with me, gents. We're almost ready. Okay. Do. Whished that noise. Justflight. Okay. I think we're in a better spot. Don't crash. I think we're in a better spot now. Okay, welcome back. Technical difficulties 101. Now, saying I have really low frames there, guys, so just let me know how the audio visual is. If you wouldn't mind just typing 5 if it's very strong, or 1 if it's really bad. But we'll have a look now here in a second. So this is the Justflight Dutchess. It's a Beechcraft 76. I haven't flown this much, actually. I flew it a little bit, made a video, and it's pretty much sat in the hangar. And the reason it's sitting in the hangar, the flap switch isn't incremental, or it is incremental. Like I have the HOTAS from Thrustmaster, and it has a flap switch on it, but it won't. You can select it down 1, but like this only moves a 1/4 centimeter. Let's see now. Error. YouTube is not receiving enough. Blah, blah, blah. It's a 1022. I wonder, do we need to like? Okay, so everything's working fine, and the stream and everything appears okay. Talk about the lag. I said that ages ago. Anyway, here we are in Birr. Now, as you can see, not fully modelled. And as you can see, this is the ortho at this level, yeah? However, if we zoom out, now it's quite convincing. And it doesn't take an awful lot to zoom out. So, Birr, I think the flying school down here is the Ormond Flying School. They're actually doing a fly-in there in a week or two, which is very interesting. Because you get so many cool different GA planes going in there, from Pipers, Cessnas, Aerolites, everything. Okay, that's great, guys. So YouTube is lying to me. It's saying that we have an issue with our stream, so we should be okay. So we are in Birr. This is in County Offaly, right on the Tipperary border. You have Birr Airfield here. So what we're going to do, we could go from Birr to... We've been up to Sligo. We've been over to Shannon. We can go to Abbeyshrule. With the flaps, I think you just have to hold it down till it reaches 1020. Let's have a look. Yeah, like it's not a rocker switch, so if you press it once, it just thinks, yeah, that's it. But look, it's no thing. We'll get it sorted. Okay, our little menu over here. Get rid of our static elements. So in this aircraft, we want to get our batteries on. There's live. Mags are left on. Okay. Got some instrument lights on. Park and brake set. Flaps look okay. That's our weather scope or thunder or lightning scope. Heater no, pitos, air blowers, nav on. Electric trim on, why not? Strobes, no, I'll leave them on for a minute. Landing and taxi. So we have fuel pumps, so we have fuel, mixture, and lovely. Cowl flaps, leave them open. Crossfeed levers are on. We got half a tank of gas. Weight and balance. Bring it up a little smidgen. Okay. Let's see if we remember how to fly this. Okay. So, fuel pump on the right engine. I have the two of them, but sure, look it. It'll be fine. We have a primer on this as well. Same as the fuel pump. Clear prop. Good start on the right. Prime the left engine now. Good start on the left. Alternators are on. Avionics are on. So electric trim, yeah, we want that on. Autopilot, master switch, leave it off for the minute. Pitos, yeah, we can turn them on. Landing and taxi, put them on. Strobes can come alive there now as well. Cabin air, pull off, leave all these on. Outside air temperature is 20 degrees, that's fine. Need to reset our heading book here and reset our altimeter. Two about there. And what I tend to do that's read the temperature pressure. What's our pressure at? 3010. 3010. Doesn't seem right, but okay. Fuel quantity is okay, fuel pressure is good, oil pressure is okay, oil temperature is rising, cylinder head temperature is low. How do we open and close them? Carb heat. Interesting. They don't want to move. I wonder, are they assigned to buttons that I haven't figured out yet? Shouldn't be a big problem. Was that flaps 10 for takeoff? I'm looking forward actually for Kerry to be released. Oh. Yeah, so the big Garmin, this one in particular, this is the GTN 750. It's a paid add-on. You can get it from Reality XP. You can buy it from, I think it's Flight 1 software. And it integrates with a whole lot of different aircraft. I think it's about $40 or $50. But it's called the Reality XP GTN 750. You can get the 650, which is roughly half the size of it. But I love them. The only thing is, they're not compatible with your nav data, as in if you're on who's that with? Navigraph. Doesn't work with Navigraph, which could be a bummer. Now, how's all our lights looking? Grand. We should be grand. Don't go off the grass, Murphy. Okay, so there is a hangar there. It's not a million miles off that scale. We are missing the clubhouse. There's all kind of prefabs and log cabins and stuff here. Okay. Get ourselves lined up here, which we are. So, toes on the brakes. There's no, or is there? There is an audio jack. Cool. %, yeah, the GTN, they're cool. Now, let's see. We don't need that. We don't need this. Okay, guys, we're ready to go. Mixture's rich. Feet off the brakes. Power set. Airspeed is alive. Good shot of right rudder here, just to keep it balanced. There's 70 knots. We're getting light. And we're airborne. The mesh doesn't seem right here. I don't think there's a ramp like that at the end of the runway. Positive rate. Gear coming up. Tap the toe brakes. Stop the wheels from making a very loud noise when they're closed. That's just the flaps. Don't worry about them. Really? Ah, they're closed. Need to do something with that switch. Watch our RPMs. Airspeed is picking up here now as we're flying along. Nice countryside here. Mixture's rich, we're all good there. Okay, landmark time. Come out of Birr, heading. Get ourselves straightened up here. $160. We should be coming across, which we are, a wind farm. That town would be Roscrea, and then you've Templemore further off up to the right hand side. Cool. 2,500 feet, climbing well. .40 frames, a little bit on the heavy side, so we're nowhere near the sea. graphics. Turn off our reflection detail. And 55 frames. Yeah, it's a little bit more fluid. Scenery looks good. It looks good. So Hampus, how did your race go a couple of weeks ago, man? You were racing in Silverstone, yeah? I have been super busy, plus the new computer to get my head around, so I was thinking of you. I hope you did well. There's some turbulence. Cloud surfing. Yeah, it looks okay, guys, doesn't it? Okay, quick check here, temperatures and pressures. Cylinder head temperatures are quite low. I can't close them, there's a button or something assigned to them. Lochderg, I know it well. I was only on it a couple of weeks ago, actually. On the boat. Went from Banagher up to Athlone and then up to Loch Earn and back again. Nice spin. It took 3 hours from Banagher up to Athlone. Which on a boat, that's fast. On like a cruiser. A river cruiser. It's pretty fast. Two of your classmates moved on to the Dutchess last week, and the replica is like the real thing. Nice to fly it. That's great. Where are you doing your training, Miguel? Who has Beech 76s? Would it be Waterford or Cork? Yeah, Athlone is grand. If Sean's bar there in Athlone, great spot for the points. Oh, cool. In Weston, yeah. National Flight Centre. And how's the training going? How many hours have you got? Have you soloed yet, or...? I'd say you're not far off it if you're doing cross-countries. The holy pints. Anti-ice on. Well, that's gotten bumpy. How about anti-ice on? Air blowers, electric trim, autopilot, auxiliary fuel, icing control. Cabin air, fuel selector. Interesting. Carburetor heater. I don't think we're fitted with any de-icing equipment. I could be wrong now. Dude, you have 132 hours? Jeez. Jeez. You're nearly at CPL level. It's not a great time to be training. It's not. And like, you know, I'm sure you would have been nervous and whatever, because go back 6 months ago and like there just were not enough pilots. And now things are different, but listen, it'll change. That'll change. As soon as this thing is sorted, be it with, you know, this, you know, a vaccine or whatever, or it's controlled better, or we figure out a way to control it, life will go on. We'll go back to some sort of normality, and the need for pilots and airlines will be bananas. Okay, let's behave ourselves. So manifold 18 and 23 on the RPM. Probably. We only renting this. We can like redline it. Here's one for you. Would the engine RPM and manifold pressure change depending on your altitude? For example, if you're cruising, what would be its... I can probably look this up in the pilot's manual, but what's its ideal cruising speed and height? Because I know that does vary from aircraft to aircraft. Derg line we're based. Derg line. I've heard of Derg line. But they're like Silver Line. One of that, or yeah, it was Silver Line, wasn't it? I think. Okay, 10 miles out. It is flying so much more smoother now. Okay. Autopilot off. Bring our throttles back. Let the nose pitch down. And we can start descending. $5,000 feet. We're going to hand fly this one in. It will change altitude, so the higher you climb, the more you'll have to push the prop lever forward to maintain the RPM. Same with the throttle. Cool. I tell you, if your profession could change to a publican, a barber, let's say a pilot, all three things, business will be good when things get back on their feet. Emerald Star, yeah. I think they were a French company, actually. Or was it Emerald Star? Or Green Star? I don't know. But yeah, it's all the rental companies, yeah. Pretty cool. Bolton's fantastic. It's very slow pace, or can be. And it's far cheaper and safer than flying, particularly in Ireland. I still like me flying now, don't get me wrong, but you know, boating's a blast. Must take one of the cameras out actually on the boat. We have a Dutch cruiser, steel hull, 32 foot I think it's 32 foot. And it's narrow. Well, it's not narrow. It's just everything's narrow for me. Like, but it's small. Do you know? Like the ceiling is quite low on it. But it's grand. Come down on 3,000 feet. Airport should be out to our left here. I have flown over Abbeyshrule before. Loch Ennell, I want to say. Is it Loch Ennell? Loch Ennell, I think. Flying with my left hand, using the mouse with my right. Multitasking on a scale of 1 to 1. Okay, speed is good, rate of descent looking good. RPMs are a little bit high, but that's quite okay. Manifold pressure is low. Mixture set to rich. Landing lights are on. Abbeyshrule. Carry on from Abbeyshrule. I think you're not too far from, I think it's Ballymattin. I think. Ballymattin. Approaching now on 2,000 feet. Oh, it's easier to find things in the sim, man. It follows a road. It's just to the right of the road, I think. I remember I flew over. There's bogs and stuff around here. I remember I flew down here one year and absolutely got hopped out of it in the plane. Whatever turbulence came up, and there was all sorts of thermals and whatever to contend with. Terrifying. Oh yeah, you would actually. Memory serves me, it's over this neck of the woods. For the snipers of you in the chat, it's over here somewhere. There it is. There be the bog. Watch your speed. 6 miles out. Do. Should we just over here? Yeah, I think we gotta. Could you imagine being on that lake in 1986 when Charlie hit? Man, you were lucky to get off it. Fantastic. It is very bumpy over here. Okay, 4 miles out, check our speed. Landing gear coming down. Prop set to full. Mixture is on full rich. We've created quite a bit of drag here now with our landing gear sitting down, but that's quite okay. Bit of wind pushing us down here. We'll get ourselves lined up at the runway, for it is a little bit off in the distance. Keep our speed somewhere between 90 and 100 knots. We should go with flaps, but they... No. We don't need flaps. We'll be okay. We're going slow enough. Runway in sight. Bouncy, bouncy. Come in over the tree line. We're a little high, but that's okay. It was these bogs here. We did kind of a low pass and absolutely launched around the plane. Great fun. Abbeyo man, finally caught you live. Good day to you too, sir. How are you? You join us as we're just coming in for a landing here at Abbeyshrule. There's the wind hitting us. One of our viewers here, Miguel, is doing a whole load of training up this neck of the woods, so we said we'd visit him. All the pressure's on us now not to butcher this landing. No pressure, lads. Oh, this is going to be sporty. And she's going to float. And touchdown. We'll take it. Don't go off the runway. We'll take it. Not one of our finest ones. Do you remember that scene in Hot Shots when they land on the carrier and their nose is through their mask? Hit the brakes there, man. Okay, we're gonna spin it around. Now, do you do parking on the right or on the left? Because I think it's on the left. We'll go down to the left to see what we can see. This is not a bad little airplane, I have to say. If I can figure out the flaps, we're laughing. probably write a Lua script. We'll see. Get ourselves turned around here at the hangar. Alrighty. Park and brake can come on. Now do a bit of tidying up here, so leave all them alone. Avionics off. Should be off. That's interesting. Let's pretend that turns off. Brakes are all okay. Landing and taxi lights off. Strobe lights can come off. We're going to go for a kill on the left. And right and left engines are turned off. Alternators off. Pitot off. Nav off. Battery off. Awesome stuff. Okay, so we are in the Abbeyshrule. Something like that. Cool. Okay, we're going to take a little break here, guys. When I say a little break, it's like 2 or 3 minutes, that's all. And choices for our next airport to arrive to. So we can head further north. We can head up by Sligo. We can head up by Donegal. We can go into Derry, or we can head Shannon direction, or south. We can head down to Kerry, or we can head east up to, we can go Dublin or Newcastle, or we can head to Cork or Waterford. So what do you think? Stick it down there in the old chat and we'll have a look. I'm going to put on a spot of music for you and I'll jump back to you in a couple of minutes. Hopefully the sim doesn't crash again, because that's just going to be like awful. Let's see now. Let's see now. Do you know what I could do while we're waiting? Rather than just putting on a blank screen, could I do something like this? Bear with me now. Storage. This is ortho, yeah. It's pretty impressive, isn't it? It's the vertical sim ortho, and I have X Europe sitting on top of it. And performance wise, it's actually pretty amazing. I'm getting 60 frames here. Obviously, the higher you go, the better it gets. You want to be at in and around kind of 3,000 feet or so to really appreciate it. And then obviously the higher you get, it's just fantastic. But yeah, it's from vertical sim. Pretty cool. You're flying Shannon and Kerry tomorrow afternoon. Well, should we, then we have to go to Shannon and Kerry. Like, this is like the dress rehearsal. But you gotta. What will you be flying now tomorrow? Will you be flying the Duchess? What I was trying to do was put a video in while we take a break for a minute. Let me see. I'd have to add a sit. Nah, that's just going to be too much work. It's too confusing. So what we're going to do, just put on a small bit of music here in the background. Do 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 do. Okay, there's a bit of background noise. Right guys, sit tight. I will be back very shortly. We got a mic back. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Alrighty, okay, so I think our plan is going to be, we're going to head over to Shannon. And then we'll probably call it a night once we get to Shannon. Because if you guys are like me and you like watching streamers? You like watching streamers or streams? Catstrader will be on in about 50 minutes or so. So we must go and check him out. Yeah, but X Europe, it's a beefy download as well. Like, it's about 8 gigs. But very good. Okay, shh, quiet you. Okay, so let's see now. Let's set up the ambience for our flight. Not too dark. How's that? Actually, hang on. Yes. Are we feeling this? Yes? Yes. Okay. Let's go for it. So, battery on. Alternators on. Miguel, feel free to stop me when I'm doing something wrong. Or, you know, if it's like danger close and we blow up the plane. That could happen. Refreshment's taken and we're good to go. So, yeah, you're there. Come back, you. Let's get some nav lights on. These guys are all okay for the minute. Fuel pumps, I don't think we're going to need them. Give it a small shot. Mags to the right. Clear prop. There we have a start on the left. Where did we find the button? There we go. Then we go for the right. There we go. Avionics on. Back into our maps here. We'll turn off our topography. So, Echo India November November is Shannon Airport. A range of 70 nautical miles. We'll be down there actually fairly quick. We'll take our time. Landing, taxi, strobes can come on, pitot heats can come on, activate the autopilot. Heater we don't need. Autopilot is powered off on this panel over here. And that should be kind of us. Yep, this would be kind of us. Okay guys, let's boogie. So we put our feet up on the pedals, hit the toe brakes, parking brake comes off, release the toe brakes, a small bit of hooch and we should be rolling. Altimeter 195 feet. Okay. Stop. Hello. And what we'll do, I tend to do this when I fly. That's the actual ground on our secondary altimeter here. Barometric pressure. If we zoom in, this is an easy way of getting it. If you guys are unfamiliar with how to find weather details, if you're not using a weather engine, you can click on an airport, Abbeyshrule, get the details, sky conditions, few clouds at 3,100 feet, 6,100 feet scattered, visibility is more than 10 kilometers, wind 140 at 5 knots, altimeter 3033. So that's how we cheat with that. So if we go to 3033, you're pretty much on the ball. There's about a 10 or 15 foot deviation there. Airport altitude, so is going to be different. 30. Yeah, that's not right. 3033. Okay. Altimeters are check. Outside air temperature is plus 18 degrees. Yes, we'll absolutely take that. The weather in Ireland currently, it's actually warm. It's wet, but it's warm. So we'll take it. How's everything looking? Apart from like the Minecraft pixelated shadows, we're doing grand. Before I go off the runway. Left turn onto the runway. Lights are on, strobes are on. Yeah, I can't get the old cowl flaps operational. I probably have something bound to them. Bound or binded? there's something hanging onto them. So we shall see. So taxiing nicely here. I tell you, with Flight Sim 2020, we are in for a real treat when it comes to GA aircraft. Hello. Why did that change? If you guys saw the aircraft list, it's very good. Cessnas, Pipers, Beechcraft, they all get a mention. There's a King Air 350. There's a Bonanza gun in there. Is it a G36 Bonanza? They have the TBM. They have... what else? They have the Icon A7. That's a cool looking microlight slash boat slash airplane. Get ourselves turned around here. On runway 28. Bring ourselves to a stop. Park and brake on for the moment. We have a quick look to see. Okay, quick check before we go. So, lights are on, air blowers, don't worry about them. Pitos are on, heaters not needed. Fuel pumps are off. Landing gear is down. Mags are all on. We could do a mag test, but yeah, can't operate the cowls. We'll go 10 degrees on flaps. Come hither, you slither. Avionics are on. Autopilot is powered but turned off. Comms meter is running as normal. Fuel quantities is just under half tank on both tanks. Fuel pressure in the green. Oil pressure in the green. Oil temperature in the green. Cylinder head starting to warm. Antimeter is fine. Test lights are working. And the battery is charging. Super! Okay guys, we all ready? Nearest airport. EIKN. Oh, look at the Black Knight has the Metar. Okay. 2800 broken. Okay. 1 second, so we'll start showing off now. FS Global Real Weather. Let's just do an actual download of the weather, because the weather I'm running off is probably an hour old. Now, if I do this, it'll keep reloading, but that'll be okay. So bear with me as I download the latest Metar. It'll be interesting now to see how close we are to that. So this is 1718 Zulu, 280 at 8 knots. Broken at 3000. Broken at 1400. QNH is 1016. Josh Clarkey, good to see you, pal. How are things? Thanks for joining the chat and joining the stream. We've just been kind of flying around. So we originally took off from the Isle of Man, Ronaldsway Airport, and we're having a look at that from... I wrote down the name so I wouldn't forget. Boundless. Boundless are the developers who made that airport, and they're currently working with Kino on a new Kerry Airport scenery. Flight configuration, scattered. Load a new Metar. Metar, 17th of the 7th at 23:21. That's accurate. So, 293 at 6 knots. Few 295. Load her in. Apply. So, this is the Metar I'm getting from FS Global Real Weather. So we have wind 240 at 12 knots. There is actually slight precip here. It's raining. Temperature is 16 degrees, dew point 15 degrees, visibility 25 kilometers, sky conditions broken at 1800, scattered at 3400, and our pressure is 1016 hectopascals or 30.01 inches of mercury. So we're going to go, what are we in on the, actually can you change that? Oh, you can, look. Oh, we're very European now. Alright, so what did we say it was? 1016. 1016. And I always set this guy to the actual ground. It's handy when you're flying at low altitude. Turn this guy to runway heading. Make sure that's set. Okay. Right. Everything appears to be good. Lights, cameras. Lights, cameras. You're straight away copying Capstrator. I said Capstrator, see? See what I did there? See what I did? Okay, brakes off, toe brakes off. Accelerating our power here. Power set. Let's keep this on the center line. Small bit of a wind coming in on our left hand side. Nothing to worry about. Airspeed is well alive. Nearly at 80 knots now. We're getting light. Nose up. We're going to fly the runway heading. Positive rate. Tap the brakes. Gears coming up. Little bit of bump. Why do we tap the brakes? It's just stop the wheels running around in the wells. They sound very loud, that's all. And if there's any debris or dirt or whatever else, you just stop them from destroying underneath the plane. I learned that the hard way. I got in trouble when I destroyed the underbody of someone else's plane because it was a grass runway, and yeah, that's why we tap the brakes. Okay, climb is good. Start bringing in our flaps now. This is super annoying doing the incremental ones, so we're just going to launch the flaps back in here. There we go, flaps up. Miguel is going to be screaming at us guys, right? They're like blowing up the engines already. Manifold pressure, keep it probably around 2250. RPM, bring it back there to about 2350. Speed is good. Rate of climb doesn't have to be much higher than 500 feet per minute. Get ourselves trimmed up here. Nice. That was a yaw dampener click. .68 nautical miles to our destination. We're kind of flying away from Shannon at the moment, but that's okay. We'll head out towards the coast and then swing in down by the left hand side. If you guys have enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the old thumbs up button, and if you do really like it, you might want to subscribe and tell your friends or other peoples on the interwebs. We've no agenda, only chilling out on a Friday. I was on Twitch earlier on. I don't know if you guys go on Twitch. Put it this way, it was very lonely over there. So we'll stream here for the moment. We're still climbing nicely. Speed is happy and helpful at 110 knots. We're doing about 600 feet per minute in our climb. We're just passing 2,500 feet. And we shouldn't be at that. Whoa, don't press that. 7,000 is our squawk code in Europe for VFR. Thank you very much. It's all fluke, and by now the engines are like definitely destroyed. But we're doing okay so far. So as we're flying out yonder direction, we have a lot of cloud cover here ahead of us. We're looking okay though. There's a marina here. There's two marinas here. What are they called? Let us check. Is it Glasson, is it? Glasson Marina? I think it's Glasson. Really, really nice place. This would be Loch Ree, so this kind of feeds into the Shannon. And it's bouncy here. Way turbulence here. And suddenly you realise that you regret eating burritos for breakfast. Man, that was super bumpy. Anyway. Yeah, plenty of boats. I was only up there 2 weeks ago. It was during the Irish summer. It lasted for 2 days. Summer next year is going to be on a Wednesday. Do save the date. We'll get 1 day of summer. And that's usually what happens. So we're kind of hand flying this down towards our destination. We're about 30 minutes away. Still climbing, just passing 4,000 feet. A little bit of a wind pushing us. As we're crabbing a little bit. Yeah, nothing major. Pennies will be jammers. Everyone buying the swimming togs for the 1 day of summer. That's pretty nice looking. It's a nice scene, isn't it? You often hear it say, let the airplane fly itself, but when it starts getting bumpy, you start getting nervous. Okay, over to our trusty little autopilot. So, turn on navigation mode and hold the altitude. That'll take a little bit of the workload off us. We're kind of marginal VFR here. That's more the camera view with the shaking and shuddering. Yeah, Athlone certainly does look nice from up here, doesn't it? Where are we now? We are... getting around Athlone, yeah. Yeah, the Air Corps have a heli base up in Athlone. It's mainly for the kind of rapid response medical equipment. They have an air ambulance up there. As much as I fly in the sim, of course, in Ireland and over Ireland, and it's like Ireland's a small country, like, but you can just come across some phenomenal scenery. So this is the big power station near Shannon Bridge, Shannon Harbour, Shannon Bridge. I think it's Shannon Harbour, or maybe it's Shannon Bridge. So you come up past that, heading up the river, and actually I'm going to zoom in here and show you a trick. So as you guys come up to Shannon this way, you follow it on up this way in a boat, okay? You have the old canal back in the day from like Guinness trucks and whatever, or Guinness, you know, the longboats, you know, the narrow boats. But this little island here, you're supposed to go around it in a boat, and they have like nav markers, green and red and green, and you drive on the river as you would in the States. In America, it's kind of left-hand drive. But you can actually go up this little area here, the one we're zoomed in at. You can see kind of boats there in the picture. And as you come alongside here, there's an old British barracks, army barracks in here. And there's a pub up here called Luker's, and they do excellent food. And there was another pub up the top of the village called Killeen's. I think they've closed that now. That was just a great pub for a couple of pints. But Luker's is good. You get a pint in there. And like, you're up, you know, if you follow on the Shannon up and along, that's the River Shannon there. If you follow that up and along, you come across a place called Clonmacnoise, or Clonmacnoise. I think it's pronounced Clonmacnoise. Fascinating spot. It was like the epicenter of Christianity back in the 500s or 600s. Huge history. Huge. Yeah, the Porel Midlands get kind of left out, don't they? We're looking good though. We're making good old time. We're on our way to Shannon. We took off from Abbeyshrule after our initial flight this evening started off in the Isle of Man over at Ronaldsway Airport, and we were heading to Birr Airfield rather in Offaly, and we were showing off for Black Knight because he asked us to, and that upset the plane completely, and then the sim decided to crash somewhere around Mullingar. We weren't very far from Birr, and then it crashed a second time when it was reloading, so we said we'll just restart in Birr, which we did, and we swept our aircraft from the Alabeo Mooney, and we're now in the Dutchess 76, which is a Beechcraft from Justflight. And we have Miguel here, who flies, well, I don't know, have you flown these? I think you have. Obviously you have if you're telling me how to fly it. But is currently doing his own flight training for a commercial pilot license. 132 hours, I think he said. Which is like, what? That's a lot. And I wish you the very best continuing on with that. So we're now going from Abbeyshrule over to Shannon Airport. And we're just kind of having a look at the Shannon as we fly around. So we're approaching Loch Derg here through the clouds. And the scenery is all looking well. So we're using the Vertical Sim V countries. So essentially what it is, it's ortho tiles, but they've color corrected them. So the vast majority of the tiles are color corrected. I've come across 3, maybe 4 tiles that are just slightly off, but they still have ortho. You've no issues with blurry textures. You know, everything works fine. The installation is relatively simple. You don't have to decompress or compress or any of that nonsense. It's scenery. You put it into your folder, in your custom scenery folder, and just make sure it's layered correctly, as in your ortho's going on top of your mesh, but pretty much under everything else. And yeah, I have X Europe running on top of the orthos, so we have decent OSM data. So you have buildings where there should be, you have landmarks, obstacles, everything is where it should be. And I have to say, guys, it really is a compelling scene. It looks fantastic. .38 nautical miles to Shannon Airport. We're doing 125 knots over the ground. We're about 20 minutes out. Just under 5,500 feet. Airspeed is 130 knots. We'll probably bring our RPM back here a little bit. And bring our EGT up a little bit as well. So, Justflight aircraft. What else do we have going on up here? Interesting. Lights. Sounds, weights, balances. All that good stuff. Here's a tip for you. If you have a Justflight aeroplane, you see the arrow here on the left of the screen, just where the mouse is hovering. If you put your roller ball over that and roll it either back to yourself or forward to a screen, you can disappear it. And most of the newer Coronado menus, you know the way they have like the OCA or whatever on the side, they do the same. So you can disappear them little menus because it totally adds to your immersion. And I have a frame rate counter up here. That's just for me because while I'm running a beta, I want to see what it's doing. Plus I have a new PC and I want to see how that's behaving. So if you want to turn on or off your frame rate counter, if you press Control Shift and F, and then you have it. This should be called edutainment. Edutainment flight. Go for a bit of music here in our in-flight entertainment. So, depending on your route tomorrow, if you're flying from, if you're flying down towards Shannon, you have a couple of things to watch out for. So, yes, you're going to follow the Shannon. Nina, how you're going to know Nina from the air? Okay, you'll know it from the Townsland, but as you're flying towards Shannon, over on your left-hand side, way off on the left-hand side, you'll have the Silver Mines. It's a mountain range, and then kind of beyond that again, I think you have the Galties. I think. Just double check a map. You'll see them from the air because the Air Corps actually used to use that as a turning point when they zipped down from O'Donnell. They would always turn there and then head back up the way as well. And I've used that myself. So it's a handy landmark to see because unless you're in very bad visibility, you're going to see it. So they're called the Silver Mines. It's a mountain range on your left-hand side. If and when you see them, you're pretty much over Nina, which is great for your approach because you kind of know what height to be at then approaching Shannon because you've all the different classes to go through. So do have a look. Black Knight is in with the Metar. Fantastic. So, reading from Shannon, let us compare our notes. Let's go to Shannon, E-I-N-N, Shannon. So, you're reading at 1722 Zulu, winds 230 at 11 knots, 4,000 DZ scattered, broken at 6,000, Temperature 16, dew point 15, QNH is 1017. Temperature 2000 broken. Okay, what do we have? We have turbulence. So we have 230 at 11 knots. Snap. We have light participation. Participation? Light precipitation. That's terrible. Temperature, we have 16 degrees Celsius and 15 dew point. We're snap at the minute. Visibility is... You have it down as 4,000, that's okay. Sky conditions, scattered at 400, correct. Broken at 600, correct. And pressure is 1017. I have the exact same. So, if we... This should be reading the same, actually. Let us see. No, we don't want Shannon. Okay, so X-Plane is reading it wrong. Let's go back in here. Customize that. Load a new METAR. FS Global Real Weather. METAR at 2342. Open. There we go. Apply. Oh, joyous, great and fantastic. Look at the challenge that has befallen us. We're not VFR anymore. And we're not in Kansas now, Toto. Okay, things to do when you're in almost zero visibility. First and foremost, we would contact ATC to get a new flight follow number 1. So let's pretend we've done that. You know, Shannon Airspace, this is November, or Golf, Bravo, November, Yankee, Oscar. We would report our position. So our distance from the airport, our position, our speed and our intentions. They will come back with a squawk code. They'll probably ask us to flash the squawk. We've now done that. We're in horrible cloudy weather. Turn off your strobe lights because we're going to blind everyone and everything around you. Altitude wise, we are 20 miles out. We're sound at the minute. We don't want to be climbing, that's okay. Speed wise, we'll drop it down a little bit, bring it back down to about 110 knots just to make it a little bit more controllable. Outside air temperature is 6 degrees. We're not worried about any icing. There is a bit of bad weather here. If there was very bad weather, we'd want to lower our altitude a little bit. Hopefully the temperature would increase. So speed dropping down. EGT is running low. Bring that up a little bit. Get them engines running a little bit smoother. Temps and pressures are okay. Pressure a little bit high in our oil, but it's okay. Fuel quantities are reading half. We have our little storm gauge over here, but I don't think it works. But I don't believe there's any storms we need to worry about. There is rain here though. That's Ultra Weather XP doing its part to try and compete with what we've seen over on Flight Sim 2020. As I said before, there are not a million miles between the two of them. There are many thousand miles between them, but not millions. Okay, 100 knots or so. Speed is looking good at the minute. RPMs are fine. Manifold pressure is fine. Mixture is fine. EGT is fine. Our altitude at the minute is fine. We're now at 17 nautical miles. At 15 nautical miles we're going to start our descent. This isn't very helpful for Miguel because he can see nothing out through the windows. And we can blame Black Knight because he has the latest METAR and we've downloaded said METAR for the sim. So we're kind of close to... Well, we are close. This would be real world conditions. And if we want to get very technical, we put it into nighttime. What time are we? 23:52 local. Interesting. Now the only thing is, this could be easier for me to see because the lights will shine out better. Nah, let's brighten it up a little bit here. How's that looking? Yeah, we go with that. Because I can see nothing. Now, a handy function here with our GTN 750 is we can do an approach. So if we look at our procedure, arrival, Shannon. I've no charts here, so I'll tell you what we'll come back. Our approach will be to, let me think, where was the wind coming from? We'll do an ILS 240. There's a whole load of mess in there. Load and activate. GPS guidance only. Hit back on this. We have a flight plan now. Aircraft is going to turn us. We need to be at 3,000 feet. That ain't going to work. We're 5.5 now at the minute. It might. Bring the autopilot off. Bring our speed down. We're going to follow this line in directly ourselves. And let's see what happens. Keep our strobe lights off for the moment, only because we're going to hit the clouds relatively shortly. In instrument mode, okay, yes, we have our navigation, but our eyes are going to be fixated on your artificial horizon, your speed, your altimeter, and then your vertical speed indicator gadget thingy. But I'm hopeless doing this because I get car sick if I don't look out the window. I've never been sick, I don't feel well. I would need to open the window. Speaking of which, 100 knots. Oh, totally feeling much better. Okay, speed is good. We're doing a very steep descent here, but we're kind of 1,000 feet. We're kind of within our limit here, so we're fine. Keeping an eye on our temperatures and pressures. Oil temperature is okay, but our cylinder temperature has dropped off the chart. And I can't turn on my carb heat. Oh, we can, look. Oh, hey! Right. Get them temperatures back up. .6 miles to our little waypoint here. Coming down under 4,000 feet. We're 1,000 feet too high, but I still think we're going to be okay here. We're at 90 knots over the ground. We're descending way too fast. The air inside weather now is probably worse. Visibility 3,000 meters, light drizzle broken 900. I'm sure you're grand on the same. Yeah. It'll be grand. And even if it's not, it'll be grand. Runway 24 is where we're looking. Landing lights are on. Pitos are still on. Strobes, I would still think leave them off because we're going to break into this soupy stuff now in a minute. 3,000 feet. We're actually okay. Speed is good. Descent is good. Castrator's on in 5 minutes. We have 5 minutes to get onto the ground. Yeah, but he's 5 minutes of an intro, so he'd be grand. What's your old rate there again, Murph? We're actually okay. Heading no. Nav, yes. Two and a half thousand feet. Now, if we want to be very sophisticated, put on our terrain map here as well, because we have zero visibility, and you can see now, as we're descending, the terrain will start getting bigger and yellow, and then if it gets dangerous, it'll turn red. I'd love one of these in a plane. So as you can see, the lower we're getting, we're just coming in under 2,000 feet. There are mountains here just under our left wing, so we'll watch our descent here. That turns off the autopilot, but we're okay for the minute. We have low mountain ranges just here beside us. You can kind of see the tree line. Miguel, when you're coming in this way, on top of those tree lines, I think there is a weather dome. You'll see it. And there's a... I'm not actually quite sure what the station is. I think it's a VOR. I think. There's 1,300 feet. We're going to keep it at 1,000. We're pretty much in, I won't say zero visibility because we can see the cloud above us. But yeah, it's probably just as well because the ortho at this altitude is not going to be fantastic. So we've kind of a yellow screen that we're flying against. We're on a 5-mile final for runway 240. 240 or just 24? Drifting to the left a bit. Correct that by swinging into the right. We're at 4 miles now, 750 feet. Landing gear coming down. Get our little needles aligned here on our CDI. Runway in sight. We have a visual on it. You can see the landing lights way off in the distance. And then the wind does that. Okay, we're way too low. Up you divil ya. Kind of the 500 feet threshold there. Don't like breaking that. Engine's not really liking that. Okay, 500 feet. We can hold this until we get a little bit closer. It's now turned midnight. The cat straighter will be going. Watch our RPMs here. Mixture and prop set to full, as Miguel has pointed out, just in case you have to go around. Thank you for the tip. Quick check here now. Landing lights are on, landing gear is down, 3 green are set. Runway is in sight, speed 110 knots, a little bit fast, bring it back. We have a bit of wind and rain to contend with here, but I think we're okay. We're below the glide slope, which is no good, but again, we're okay. Oh, the simulated horror! It's really windy here. There's 90 knots. Watch our speed. Watch our height. Keep your rate of descent closed. It's really choppy here. There's our middle marker. little bit of wind to contend with, but we're okay. Right, we have lashings of runway here. This runway is a backup to the space shuttle, so we just don't want to plant it as the weather reloads. Try and keep it on the center line. Keep that nose up. Let the speed bleed off. Don't float it. Keep the descent going. Throttle back. Wait for it to stall. There we go. Back wheels are down. Front wheel is down. Kind of ish on the center line. Kinda. Nah, we won't worry about the missed approach. That calls for celebratory music, guys. If it's going to be a victory cigar, a nice glass of whiskey, or brandy. I'll take a brandy at this stage. Woo, that was fun. Welcome to Shannon Airport. Thank you very much, Miguel. You approve of the landing? That was a fun approach. I went way too low, but it's grand. Have a bit of general aviation parking just past the main terminals here. Beautiful to see a couple of 747s. When I read there today, British Airways are grounding their fleet. They're actually retiring their fleet. That's the end of the Queen of the Skies as we know it. Nice landing, nice landing. Many thanks, chaps, many thanks. It was all fluke. And under the watchful eyes of Black Knight and Miguel for having us along. And to everyone else in the chat, I know you're all thinking of me there, lighting candles and wishing me well. Okay, that music is holy crap. Okay, we'll continue on. We can see the GA parking lot over here, which it is across from the fire station. That's relatively accurate. Yes, the virtual people, yes, they enjoyed it. They approved. A little bit crowded, but sure, we'll squeeze it in here somewhere. Cessnas, that's probably a DR400. That looks like the Piper, that fella, that's a Beech. Alrighty. Okay, and wished. Parker brake on. We'll get ourselves tidied up here now in a sec. Alrighty, so let's tidy up this machine here. Taxi lights off, strobes, they're already off. Pitot heat can come off. Turn off our electric trim. Autopilot is already turned off. Go ahead now and kill our avionics. That's our radio switches off. So we're going to go 0 on our right engine. And we can go 0 on our left engine. Awesome. Well, guys, I got lost in Shannon terminal and was heading towards the Ryanair flights instead of the light aircraft stand. It is it. Could you imagine you walk out to the Ryanair 737? Hi, I'm here for my flying lesson. Yeah, it is. Shannon's a massive terminal. It handled so many flights back in the day. So, battery off. Get her stuff turned on. There we have it, folks. I have to say, the weather's too bad to zoom out. I really enjoyed that one. Thanks so much for joining the chat and watching the stream. If you're looking back on this after the fact, I'll upload it onto YouTube. The video can stay there. I'm going to start a bit of a schedule just for streaming. Probably looking at Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, 8 o'clock Irish time or GMT or Zulu. I think that's all the same. So 8 PM and we'll get a couple of streams going. I'll probably do 1 or 2 off the ball streams over the weekend as well. Until next time, look after yourselves, stay safe. The very best of luck to Miguel with your flying. Black Knight, thank you as ever for your help and support during the stream. It was great there to get the bit of weather off you. We had Hampus in here earlier on. We had, who else do we have? We had loads of guys in here at one stage. We have Josh Clarkey. Thanks so much for stopping by. Avioman. Stephen Lowe was here for a bit. And Hampus was there. We got him. Miguel was there. And everyone else. If I've missed anyone, I do apologise, but yeah, you'll watch it back on the on the gadget. You'll be fine. Right, enough waffle out of me. Look after yourselves. Take care, and see you on the next one.